Okay, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. We sure have a treat in store for you this afternoon, live with NCCE and our weekly dose of tech-savvy info. My name is Kelly Williams. I'm from DeWitt, Michigan. I'm a professional learning specialist with NCCE, and I'm your moderator this afternoon. So please be sure and mute your mics. Open your chat window so we can have you fully participate by asking questions and putting comments in that chat window. So this afternoon's webinar is presented by Greg Bagby from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Greg will provide an introduction to Google and the Chrome browser. Greg, the mic is yours.
Why, thank you very much. And Kelly, I appreciate all you do. It seems like every time we get the opportunity to work together, there's a natural disaster, but that's okay. Today won't happen. That will be the case. And have you started recording? I assume that's a yes.
Yes, it is.
Great. My name's Greg, as she said. On the Twitters, at Greg Bagby, you can find me there. I'm also a learning specialist with NCCE, much like Kelly. Email me if you need, gbagby@ncce.org, or you can reach me, I guess, at my district. I'm the coordinator of instructional technology for my district. Former teacher, classroom teacher for a bunch of years, principal for a few years. Now I am doing technology for the district, and I'm going to show you a little bit about Google. One thing I did today that made me really proud, I took this morning and I went to help 3D print some face shields for some medical workers. I'm not robbing the place. I'm actually printing. I printed all those face shields and then I assembled them, and some doctor came and picked them up earlier today. So that made me really happy today. And I thought I'd just share. That's what I'm doing with my, as you see, I'm all alone in this big room with a bunch of 3D printers, but that's okay. I enjoyed myself. Anyway, we are here to talk about Google and Google Chrome. First and foremost, if you have a Gmail email account, that means you have a Google account, which means you have a Chrome account. One of the things that I like about the Chrome browser, and there are a lot of things I like about the Chrome browser, but I'll just start. Chrome browser allows you to log into the browser, and once you're logged into the browser, you have the option of using that same login, your same preferences, everything on any device in the world that has a Chrome browser. You can log into the Chrome browser and it will emulate whatever machine you first set it up on. And I like that. Sad to say that I've just got my Surface a little while ago, and I have Edge on my Surface, and I found out that it does the same thing. So a lot of the things are the same, but today we're focusing on the Googles and Chrome browser. So the Chrome browser allows you to log in. Once you log in, you get to choose your background. You can personalize it a little bit, and from there, you have access to the Chrome browser. So one cool thing about Chrome and its browser, of course, created by Google, is it has this little bar. Of course, we think, oh, that's where you type in the URL. That's what we do with the browser. Yes, but in Chrome, they call it the Omnibox. And why do they call it the Omnibox? Because you can do a little bit more than just type in your URL and search websites. I have to admit that I use this a lot for different things, and I'll show you a couple of things that it does. You know, if you just type in timer to the Omnibox, it'll give you a timer that you could set up. And you can use that timer to, I guess, take time. And it also has a stopwatch. Many times during presentations, I go ahead and set the timer, and everyone in the room can see what's going on, and they can see the timer, and they'll know how much time we have left. And of course, you can adjust the timer by just clicking in it and adjusting. Same thing with the stopwatch, but that's just simply by typing timer in the address bar. So I used to be a musician. Well, no, I guess I still am a musician. I'm playing this weekend, but I used to teach music as well. And one of the things that I always had students do is use a metronome. Same thing with the metronome in the Omnibox. If you just type in the word metronome, it can pull up a metronome, and you can set up the different speed, your beats per minute. If you want to slow it down or speed it up or whatever you want to do, it's there, and it's just a part of the system. You simply type in whatever the beat per minute you want. type in your metronome and then use the slider for whatever beat per minute you want. Another thing, it does calculations. Yes, you can type in tip calculator and it'll show you how you want to tip the guy from Shipt that just brought in your groceries. If you want to tip that person that's bringing in your groceries, or if you just want to figure out simple basic arithmetic or algebraic functions, it does that for you as well. One of the cool things about it is with my kids being in upper math classes, they used to ask me for help when they were in elementary and middle school, and I could help them pretty much. But now they stop asking me for help. But every now and then they say, well, do you understand? And usually I don't. But I can go over to the Omnibox a lot of times. And so I don't even remember how to graph these things. I know I took trigonometry like almost 30 years ago. Wow, over 30 years ago. Anyway, and I don't remember a whole lot from the class, and I don't remember how to prove different things. However, I can type in the questions in the Omnibox, and it actually goes through and figures things out. There are lots and lots of other things that you can do just inside of the Chrome browser, typing it inside what we would normally call the address page or the URL. You can type in Fahrenheit to Celsius. You can type in conversion charts, not only for liquids, but for solids and distance as well. It's all in the Omnibox, and it just calculates, does the calculations for you, much like if you were using a Wolfram Alpha. But all you're doing is typing it inside of the browser URL locator, and it will look it up for you. Now, as you see, the picture that you see, I have several things on my little Chrome browser, and then these are the bookmarks. Like any browser, like most browsers, you can put in bookmarks, and at the very end of my browser, you see these little icons, and those are my extensions. You have access to a Chrome web store, or you can access the Chrome web store, and you can put extensions inside of your browser. The ones that you see here, I have a OneNote extension that works, that I use all the time. I can even log into my Office account inside of my browser by simply clicking on it, and it pulls it up. And then that's the other symbols. Those are things that I use on different bases for different things, but there's a whole slew, yes, a whole lot of different extensions that you can install inside of your Chrome browser so that your browser can work better for you and work harder for you, so you're not working harder for it. Extensions from, well, there's the Office extension that we have, or that I use, but you have extensions. You can input extensions inside of your browser to do various things, from closing up all your tabs if you have a whole lot of tabs open, if you have a way that you want to redo your email, if you want to use something like a screencasting product like Screencastify. They also have a read-write extension, which is sort of a ripoff of the Immersive Reader, but it's an extension that you can put inside of the Chrome browser. It also has a Wakelet extension that goes right inside the Chrome browser, where all you do is select the button and it pops into your Wakelet, and it makes you have access to your Wakelet immediately. I'm going to pull up a browser real quick. Ta-da! Here's one of the Chrome browsers. Like I was saying, you can add lots of different extensions like I have up at the top, but one of the things about the Chrome browser, when you're logging into the browser, there it is. When you're logging into the browser, you have your icon. I like the fact that with my Chrome browser, I can log in as several different people. Yes, there's a bar at the top. If you see my cursor, it's going around this head, and that head is where I am a different person. And I could select the head and choose a different login. I know if I select it now, you will not be able to see the person that I choose or the account that I choose. So I'll just choose the account, and I'll make a quick switch right here. Ta-da! You didn't see it. You didn't see it. You didn't see it. And now this is a different account. As you see, I don't have a whole lot of extensions installed under this account. This account actually, there it is. I have very few extensions installed on this account. This account is actually for my classwork, so I can click on my Blackboard and see what's there. And I'll show you one of my favorite extensions. I'll go ahead and open up my email from school, and I'm just opening several browsers, but one of my favorite extensions that this allows for, it's one of the extensions that's called the One tab. And why it's my favorite extension is because I'm usually working in lots of areas at once, especially being in this doc program. But I find myself pulling up information, and then I don't want to get rid of all the tabs, even though it's taking up a whole lot of space. I'll go to my One tab and select it, and it'll drop everything that I was reading inside of one space on one tab in the browser, and I can find the material there. And that's just one of hundreds of extensions that you can put inside of your Chrome browser. And like I said, this is just the browser. But we have so many more things that we can do inside of this to manage your browsers or your browser's extension. I forgot we cannot see that, so I have to go back to the presentation. So when you're presenting in the Chrome browser, it allows you to show some things, but some things it keeps to yourself, I guess, so that others can't see what you're doing. But if you go inside of your Chrome browser with the three tabs, the ellipses or the snowmen standing on their head at the top right here, you can actually go down to more tools and manage your extensions. They used to have apps and extensions, but they're moving more over to extensions, and a lot of folks are using things like Google Meet now. Google Hangouts has now become Google Meet, but that's a whole app, and that's a whole Google app, and we'll talk about Google Apps in just a minute. Actually, in less than a minute. But before I move on to Google Apps, just the browser itself, Chrome, are there any questions about the browser?
I don't see any questions in the chat, Greg. Thank you.
Fantastic.
They're just loving what you're saying.
Great. I guess I'm loving what I'm saying also. Yeah. One of the things, as some of you may or may not know, Google has tried to, well, they have not tried. They have jumped into the design game. They've jumped into the word processing game. They've jumped into so many areas that used to not be a part of what Google was when it was that search engine so many years ago. I remember when Google was just a very, very fast search engine, and we were really excited just being able to use Google instead of Yahoo. And then you came out with Google Maps, and we were excited about that because we used to do MapQuest where we have to print off the directions, and now we have the Google Maps and we can put them on our phone and carry them around with us, and it's kind of brilliant. But Google has stepped into many areas. They've started creating these apps, and as you see, I have a list of different apps on the screen now that these are Google created apps. And what Google has done inside of their Chrome browser, they have allowed you to use these different apps inside of their browser. I'm going to go back to Chrome browser and show you some of their apps. So inside of this browser, actually, I'm going to go to Drive. Verify it's me. That's not me. Yes, and then there's this thing when you have too many accounts, you have to verify which account is which and what you're doing where. But one of the things about Google and its accounts, the very first thing, they used to have Google Docs. Google Docs actually became Google Drive, and Docs became its generic name for its word processing unit. Google Docs, well, actually, I'll go over to this side first. Google Docs is what they use for their word processing. As you see, they stole, well, it looks a lot like Microsoft Word. And then Google Sheets, it's a spreadsheet generator, sort of like something else that's green. I don't know, maybe it's Microsoft Excel, and then Google Slides, a lot like PowerPoint. So Google has created their own versions of these. And one of the things about using the Google products, and one of the things that they tout, is that the Google products are all online. So you can collaborate with someone else in real time across the net using the Google products. Couple of things about Google products. Of course, we know about, I assume we know about, we know about docs and sheets and slides, but Google has a whole lot more products. Believe it or not, I'm sure many of you know, if you have a Google account, that means you have a YouTube account. It doesn't mean that you're a YouTuber, it just means you have access to creating a YouTube channel with just your own information and uploading your own videos. Google accounts, a lot of school Google accounts have emails for students and maybe not emails for some of the teachers. You just got to check with your folks to see if you have access to an email. But I know Google has opened up their platform free for educators and students. And I believe Microsoft has done the same thing, and it just depends on what your district buys in and what they turn on and if there's a cost. But Google has lots and lots of apps that you can use, things that you can use within a classroom. A couple of the ones that are used the most, of course, Google Classroom itself is sort of like a learning management system for Google. And you can have your students sign up, and you can put your students in a class, and you can deliver materials through Google Classroom. But you have to actually make sure that you have access to your students, and it's not an automatic thing. I know a lot of folks use Google Classroom, but I have other options, and I do not use Google Classroom anymore, but it's available. Once again, I go to the hamburger menu, or I guess the 9 dots, and I could see the different apps available in Google. One of the things that Google has done, some of you may or may not know this, but they purchased the domain for new. So if you type in docs.new and you have a Google account, I got to verify it's the account. Yeah, once again, I need to log out of some of the accounts, but it will go ahead and pull up a new doc for you. Same thing if you go slides.new, or what's their other one, sheets.new. It pulls up a brand new Google slide or a Google sheet or a Google doc, a blank one just there for you. And it's based on the .new domain name that Google purchased, so that when you type in docs.new, it will open up a Google slide if you have a Google account already set up. Let me get out of this one. And we're going to go back. So in education, lots and lots and lots and lots of folks love Google because of, well, they say it's easy and it's free, and their Chromebooks are getting cheaper and cheaper, and they have those devices. So there's some things in Google that I love, and there's some things that Google that I'm leery of. If you like it, great. If not, it's okay. But Google does do things for educators. I know as you start seeing this, you're going to say, Microsoft has some similar things, but I'll take you on this tour anyway. Here we go. There's a Google Education side, and what it is, it's a place where teachers can go to learn more about the Google products and learn how to use Google products. Not only can you learn about Google products and how to use their products, they also have the Teacher Learning Center. Inside the Teacher Learning Center, that's where you can become a certified Google teacher. You can go, they have 2 levels of certification that you can have as an educator. They have Educator Level 1 and Educator Level 2. I think it's $10 for one. Actually, I don't even know the prices for those, but you got to pay a little bit of money for each of those certification levels. And then after that, you can be a Google certified trainer. And then from there, you become a Google certified expert. And then you can move on and move up. And each time that you go one level up or further up inside of the Google educators level, you learn a little bit more and more, and you get more and more access to tools and tricks and things and trainings that are specific, of course, to Google. There's also a place where students can get their skills or hone their skills from Google as well. It's called the Applied Digital Skills. It has lessons that teachers can use. Yes, you can sign up for free. Sign up for free. Teachers can use in the classroom with their students. And the Applied Digital Skills, they cover various areas. Yes, you sign up either as a student or as a teacher. Once again, it is free, which most teachers that I know really, really, really like free stuff. But it's free, and it's one of those places where there are lessons that you can send the students to. I don't even remember how many lessons. They actually, when I went to a training a couple of months ago before all this happened, while the trainer was training us in applied digital skills, she refreshed the page, and they had more trainings available at the end of the session than they did at the beginning of the session. And we just thought, wow, they just do that every hour because you're here. And no, they didn't. They didn't update it anymore after that moment. But each session has video guided sessions with folks talking to you, talking to the students, talking them through the idea of what they're learning. And it shows how you can use this applied digital skills throughout your classes. And it's a elementary to high school expedition, so to speak, where you can use the tools inside of Google and learning how to use those tools, not just to get an A or an assignment, but to actually how to apply these tools to everyday life. And that was a lot. And actually, that's about all I wanted to talk to you all about Google. I wanted to ask you all some questions as to what more do you want from Google. I've been doing sessions for my district on Google Classroom and sessions on integration of Google with Canvas as an LMS, and I believe some other high Google topics, which is great, but I was just curious as to what you all would like so that I can share what I know.
Greg, one of the questions in the chat, and one of my very favorite features of the Chrome browser, is the ability to set up those profiles. Will you just go back to that and show us one more time how you can actually set up a different profile, so when we have different tenants, it kind of helps us with that?
Okay, so the only thing about it, I will try. I know that Google, when you're presenting, when you're in presentation mode, you can't see what I see when I click on the button, but I will see what you can see, if that makes sense. So let's see, let's find the one with one tab. Okay, that wouldn't do it. I'm switching again. So the answer is yes, I do want to show you. Really, I do. Okay, let's try it again.
Are you able to click on that G up there? Because we can see some.
Yes, I'm clicking on the here. How about this? I'm clicking on my G, and boop, I just took a screenshot, and I'm going to share the screenshot.
Great, thank you. And I did put something in the chat too to help folks.
Okay, so if you look in the screen, sorry, if you look in the chat window, I took a screenshot of me hovering over the G. Well, if it loads, it's gonna load, it's gonna load. Okay, there it is. Well, it's loaded, it's loading maybe. Sending, it's still sending. So, yes, Chattanooga, if you are wondering, I'm in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we're known for having the fastest internet in the world for homes. Like my connection on a normal basis is usually a gig internet connection. But Sunday night, early Monday, we had some tornadoes, and I'm just thankful that I have power right now. But it says it's still sending. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. If you, actually, I can do it another way. When in doubt, work it out, right? This is a screenshot of me hovering over the G. And once I hover over the G, I have access to go to different profiles, like the Bagby family. That's Greg at thebagbyfamily.net. Greg Bagby's my normal one. I had to set up Gmail for Tech Goes Home, if any of you know what that is. This is my school, even though it says Personal 5. And then this is a friend who logged on my Chrome browser. And all I have to do is click on the top icon and then scroll down or move down to one of these and choose which browser I want to be in. If I want to be in the browser of Greg Bagby, the instructional technology coordinator, I click that one. Greg Bagby, my home and everything I do there, I click on that one. Greg for NCCE, and then I have another one that you can't see for my schoolwork. Actually, that's the one I'm in now. And it's just literally selecting which person I want and clicking on it, and then it'll move to a browser with all of those preferences. And like I said, I just got my Surface about a month ago, and it appears that Edge does something similar. Some of you may or may not know the answer to that, but the new Edge browser appears to do something very similar to that. And yes, it is very handy if you have students at home working on a computer. My other device, actually, I deleted my kids' profiles on all of my devices because they both have devices that they can use, and they use them. Yay, them. But they have these devices that they can use, so they have to stay off mine. Okay, so we're almost at the end. Are there any more questions before I'm going to sign off in a moment, but I will stay on, sign off and stay on. I will end the actual Google conversation, but I will stay on if anyone has any other questions.